the September 23rd, 2021 meeting of the Town of Burlington's Conservation Commission to order. I will first read a required notice because we're doing virtual. Pursuant to Governor Baker's June 15th, 2020 lifting of the state of emergency and following the passing of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, which allows meetings of public bodies until April 1st, 2022. This meeting of the Town of Burlington's Conservation Commission is being conducted through remote participation. No in-person attendance of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by turning to the BCAT Government Cable Access Channel or the BCAT Government Meetings Facebook Live Feed channel, or you can join the meeting over the phone at 408-418-9388, and the meeting number is 2339-548-3469. To join the WebEx Live video conference, click on the link on the Conservation Commission's meeting page or on the Town of Burlington's town calendar. Or go to webex.com, select join a meeting, put in that meeting number, and a password is listed and the information on the screen. New public hearings open tonight will not be closed, so as to allow comments from those who are unable to access or uncomfortable with the technology. Comments and concerns regarding public hearings should be emailed to conservation@burlington.org before the next meeting, which occurs on October 14th. Okay, so the information that I just read, the link to join is also on the agenda. So you just go to the town calendar, call up the agenda for this meeting, and there will be a link that you can click on, and it will prompt you into this feed. All right, so after calling this meeting to order, I'll call the roll call. If you are present, say I am present. And the first name is Commissioner Don Bernstein.
Present.
Commissioner Gail Lima.
Present.
Commissioner Indra Deb.
Present.
Commissioner Bill Boyven.
Present.
Commissioner Jennifer O'Riordan.
Present.
Commissioner Ed Loturco.
Present.
Associate Commissioner Kent Moffett. I believe he is absent. Administrator John Keeley.
Present.
Assistant Administrator Eileen Coleman.
Present.
And for the record, the chair, Larry Cohen, is present as well. Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is citizens' time. Is there anybody online or on the phone who would like to talk about something that's not on the agenda? And we always give a few minutes to anybody who is so inclined.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to report a plan to add a proposed manhole at the edge of my property, 3 Arnold Terrace, and the street.
Okay, would you like to, why don't you state your name for the record, state your address for the record, and then the floor is yours if you'd like to say anything further.
Thank you. My name is Chi-Chung Yu of 3 Arnold Terrace. Previously, there was a approved plan for me to solve a water in the basement problem by adding a French drain from the back side of the property through a pipe to the front and disperse the water in the front yard. So that plan was carried out. What's shown on the screen is basically a zoom-in view of the front side of my yard. Actually, you can see that on horizontally there was a proposed perforated pipe. That pipe itself wasn't put in. What was put in was instead a Stonefield, which is wider and shorter in the X direction. Basically, at the time when the project was done, the contractor told me that in order to get the equipment back to the backside of the house, the pipe is basically in the way. It's going to be crushed if it's put in at the time. So basically, I decided that Stonefield should do the job. That's basically what I put in. It's wider and I mean, actually, both the width, the height. If you look at the slide and the width, the width is smaller. The height is longer. It's actually on the as I draw is on the side of the pipe coming to the front. For those of you, if you have visited the property, the job site recently, what you see, there's an opening here. That is not the Stonefield I was talking about. You know, the Stonefield right now is buried under mud. That's basically the unseeded part of the front lawn. But the problem is that the amount of water coming out of the French drain is more than what either the stone pit or the proposed perforated pipe can handle. So it is actually overflowing onto the street. So that is the problem. Basically, after heavy rain, actually this year the rain is fairly a large amount all the time. So it overflows onto the street, and that is a problem. It actually persists even after the rain stops. So eventually, I contacted the engineering department and got a list of approved contractors. So we made a plan to put in a manhole to the street drain, the drain underneath the road surface, which is running right here. So that is this basically this red circle. The plan has been approved by the engineering department. So John, just a reminder that basically it has to do with the previous project because the water is coming from my property. He wants me to ask your approval to have this manhole project completed. So that's basically the situation. There's water on the street. That problem we're trying to solve. There is my neighbor Reka from 5 Arnold Terrace. She's also on the line because it is actually causing problem. The water is running across the front of her driveway. So I would very much appreciate this committee consider the situation and give me the go ahead and to complete this project. So therefore, the water problem can be solved. Thank you very much.
All right, very good presentation. Thank you. All right, John or Eileen, do you have any comments on the situation of the water breaking out at 3 Arnold Terrace?
Okay, I'll make a comment. So it appears that what the Conservation Commission approved is not what was constructed. So that would be my first point. The second point is I have to point this out every time somebody proposes to do this. So the water in the street drain system that will be taking this water, the system that will be taking this water, goes into the street drain system, and then there's an outlet into somebody else's backyard. So every time somebody does this, they're transferring their water problem into somebody else's backyard, just as a reminder.
Okay, thank you for those comments, John. All right, so let's go through, see if the commissioners have questions, comments, or even suggestions. Don.
I think I would want a little more information, particularly where the water is going to flow, whose backyard, geographically located to your property, just to get an idea of the actual effect.
Well, I'm not suggesting that we don't answer that question, Don, but I would suggest that the general principle is that if you take water and the storm drain system discharges into a lower area or a wetland, it is on somebody's property. It may or may not cause a problem. It's hard to say, but generally speaking, we avoid transferring water to someone else's property if we don't have additional water to someone else's property. But if someone has the answer to that, they're welcome to answer, but I think we can accept that it's not, I'll just say on behalf of myself, I can accept the fact that it's not a great idea to do. Don, do you want to pursue that question further or let it ride for now?
That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll let it ride. I'm not purposely not answering, but I think what are the general principles kind of holds here. I guess I'm purposely not answering. Okay. Gail, do you have some questions on this one?
I just want to refresh my memory of, because I remember when we went out to your home before to look at the site and you described the problem. So was there, the design for, this is water coming off that slope behind your house, and it was going to be collected by this perforated pipe and run around to, by a pipe and then into the perforated pipe along the front. Was that system, did you design that system, or did you get, I can't remember, did you get consultation with someone that thought that would work?
I designed the system.
Okay. Because it's too late now. Well, maybe it's not too late, but in retrospect, I was just wonder if, if collecting the water from behind the house, if rather than bringing it down to the front, if there was a rain garden or something back there in the corner of the house that collected the water, that had like a stone trench underneath that could, the water could seep through. I don't know if something like that would have worked, rather than, kind of keeping the water back there rather than bring it down, because your house is on a slope. Bringing it down to the front of the house where, if it didn't infiltrate into the ground, it was just going to keep running down the front. But it's just an idea that possibly something like that might work. But I agree with Larry. I'm not. I don't think it's a good policy to be, taking water from one location and dumping it into somebody else's property.
All right, Indra.
My question is why it was not done the way it was designed and Concom, we approved it. Why it was not done?
Can you say that again, sir?
I said, why it was not done as per approved plan?
Are you asking about the difference between the stone pit and the perforated pipe?
Correct.
Okay, it's because when the contractor finished the rest of the project, they still need to access the backyard, and the equipment still need to be run back to the backyard to remove the excessive dirt and putting loam to basically seed. This project has not been completed yet. The contractor is way behind schedule. So right now it's in an incomplete status, but because of the need to run the equipment over to the back, the pipe cannot be put at that time. So that's kind of an improvisation to change the shape of the water collecting facility to a square one. I mean a rectangle one rather than just a long skinny pipe. So
The time of design.
this pipe can still be put in if it will solve the problem. But right now, it is obvious that this pipe, even in addition to the stone pit I already put in, is not going to absorb all the water. So there will still be water overflow. The water overflow is not constant. It basically, there's more when the rain just finished. Then it gradually dies down and eventually will go away. But it is from observing it for many days, it is obvious that either the pipe all this pit will not completely solve the overflow problem.
Right. right.
Again, the pipe can still be put in if it will solve the problem, but
Okay.
it will not.
Indra, do you have anything more?
No,
Okay, thank you. Bill, would you like to offer some comments, please?
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, Mr. Yu, I think as was mentioned by John, the goal of the Conservation Commission is to get as much of the water infiltrated on site as possible. Now, sometimes there's overflow in extreme situations, and I realize you may be dealing with that, but we want to get as much captured on site as possible. One of the things that I see on your property is a trench drain of some sort at the base of the driveway. Where does that go? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure, but as far as I can tell, I actually opened it up and look at the two sides. It goes nowhere. I did not pursue that information at the time when I bought a property, so I don't know exactly whether or not there's anything else that should be connected to it. But as far as I know, it's just by itself. It's not connected to anything.
Okay, because I was thinking if that was connected somewhere, you could put in your perforated pipe parallel to the street and connect to that for, and it would infiltrate some and then it would overflow, would go over to where that goes. But if that doesn't go anywhere, it's just a stone trench underneath it. I don't think that's going to handle your flow either.
Yeah, the other part of the situation is that the basement floor is basically like 3.5 feet underneath the ground level at the back. So in order for the water to go anywhere, the pipe has to be below that. So that would probably determine that even if I connect it to that grate or whatever you call on the driveway, the elevation is not it will not work out because that should be at a slightly higher elevation than the basement and the French drain.
Okay. I'll move to Jennifer unless Bill has more comments.
No, I just think that there's obviously a need for some kind of a structural engineer or, to look at this and come up with a solution, whether it's an infiltration chamber or something that's more substantial to handle the water flow. And the other thing is if the horizontal perforated pipe is going to work, but it can't be put in until the work is done, then this isn't finished yet, and it would still be awaiting approval at some point in the future.
Okay.
From observing the water coming out, it is not going to be. Basically, I already tried to dig some sort of trench on the front to observe the water. I mean, that is not going to take all the water. There will be still overflow.
Right. Okay. Let's move this along. Jennifer, do you have a further comment on it?
Hi there. I don't think I have anything more to add. Everyone covered all the bases. Thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer. Ed, anything further to add?
No, I think everything's on the table right now, so nothing to add.
All right. A few things from my comments. First of all, I think we should dig out the plan for this house and see if that grate shows any connection to go anywhere. It would show on the plan if there was an outlet on that grate before we.
There is not.
What
The
was-
driveway.
I already
looked
got
at
the
it.
plan
There is not.
from the. Actually, I think Eileen helped him to get the plan. The plan does not
So
show.
Eileen, is it verified that there's no outlet?
It does not show on the plan, that is correct. If there's no apparent connection to that trench or from that
Okay.
trench to something.
So basically, there's some
Your
leaves.
sound is
in the
terrible.
grate. I pick up the leaves and I looked at the bottom. It's solid.
Okay. John, you might want to mute everyone and then anyone who's talking can then unmute. Or Eileen, one of you could do that. So we don't get the static. Okay.
Okay,
I'm
everyone's
unmuted.
muted.
Okay, I'm unmuted. All right. And Mr. Yu, could you explain a little bit further why, if there's any construction machinery, it can't go on the driveway and then go in front of your house and avoid that area, by crushing that area? Why it can't go on the driveway, sort of bare left, go in front of your house and around to the back.
So basically, this is again, I guess the bottom line is at the end of everything else, you can still put in this pipe. But this in the front, let me see if I can. So without the picture, I guess I just described the word. The front of the property is a slope.
Yes.
Let me actually. Eileen, could you please share the
Some of us
first
have been
page?
there. Mr. Yu, I'm not sure we even need the picture. I think we,
Yeah, so basically it's a slope. The equipment going onto the slope will be very heavily tilted. It's not safe. It going, I mean, first of all, there's a drywall. I mean, there's a stone wall. You will not be
Yeah.
able to go very far onto the driveway, then turn left. If you
okay.
just
All
to
right, so
turn
in other
left,
words,
it's
you're
a
suggesting
it's
it's
a huge
not
slope.
possible. In other words, Mr. Yu, you're suggesting it's not easily possible to take machinery in the way I described.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. All right, that's fair enough. So the question here is, first of all, are you an engineer, like a licensed engineer at all?
I am an engineer, but I'm not a civil engineer.
Okay, did you provide for, just curious, not that it matters, did you design it to put 2 feet of stone under the trench and all that stuff for the perforated pipe?
On the front, I wasn't planning to put 2 feet because I actually don't know how deep I can dig. I was planning to put perforated stone around me, perforated pipe and some stone around it, not 2 feet, not 2 feet.
All right, okay, that's fine,
At
that's
the
fine.
time, at the time, I did not know how much water is in the back, but
Right, essentially, you need a system that's draining a lot of water off the hill, not just from your property, obviously, that infiltrates. So here's the situation. I think you need a professional engineer, okay, to size the system properly, okay? And they will size it. It's clear from the breakout that you don't have enough surface to volume ratio. In other words, you provided a lot of volume, but the amount of surface going down is insufficient to drain all that water. There's a certain infiltration rate. So you need a system that has more surface area per amount of volume that you're providing. And that is someone who, I mean, frankly, someone should do a little infiltration test, and then based on that result, I think should design the system and have it from a licensed engineer, because otherwise we can't be sure anything. We are not in a position to design the system for you, and unless some of the commissioners are John Keeley, our administrator, our assistant administrator, Eileen Coleman, feel that we can specify exactly what that system should be, and they can feel free to speak up. I don't think we're in a position to solve your problem tonight. You need to come up with a plan from a licensed engineer where it is sized properly based on the infiltration rate of the site and the soils that you have.
The soil underneath is very basically clayish, so that's why it doesn't go down very well. That we already know.
I suspected that. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. All right. So would anybody like to comment on what you've heard so far, what I said or anybody else said?
Well,
We need
I agree with you, Larry. This is Indra. I agree 100% with you. He should hire a registered professional civil engineer and design the system.
Right, right. And otherwise, we don't know. I mean, that way the professional engineer is held liable under his professional license to make
Correct.
sure it will work. Any other comment from anyone? John, does that sound like a plan?
Yes, probably should have done it the first time, actually.
What was
So-
that?
We probably should have required that the first time.
Right, okay.
So
If
one
you
more
need,
comment that-
if you need some names, I suppose we can give you, a bunch to pick from that we've worked with. And you can, pick whoever you would like to do that work.
So yeah, I would make one more comment. There is a so-called rainwater filtration system. It's already taking up the upper part of the front yard, it's at a higher elevation. So with that information in mind, there's very little room to putting another one at the front at the lower elevation.
I understand.
But
Okay,
that's what you proposed to us.
No, no, I did not propose. I said that's a possibility. But when I looked into the documents I got from I guess the town, it becomes obvious that that system has a high elevation. That is known at that before. So basically, that is one option. So if you look back to the documents my proposal, that is what was said is to explore that possibility, but it turns out that the elevation is high. I mean, according to the document, well, maybe what's in the ground is different from what is in the document.
Mr. Yu, this is citizens' time. Theoretically, I was supposed to give you 5 minutes, and it seems
Sure.
like I've given you a little bit more than that.
Okay.
So what we need to do is move along, but I think no one's offering any more substantive comments different than what was already been expressed. And I think tomorrow, if you would like, or Monday, contact the office, and I think you need to develop a plan to move forward with something that is professionally designed.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
All right. Thank you for your time, sir. Have a good night.
Yep.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Sound any better?
Oops. All right. All right. So next on the agenda is approval of minutes September 9th. Is there any changes to the minutes, or anybody want to discuss anything? If not, could I have a motion to approve minutes September 9th, 2021?
So moved, Gail?
Second.
Second,
All right, there's a motion on the floor to approve the minutes of September 9th. Don, how do you vote?
yes.
Dale?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
I was not at the meeting, so I abstain.
All right, Jennifer?
I was also not at the meeting, so I abstain.
Ed?
Yes,
Chair votes yes by a vote of 502. The meetings of September 9th are approved. Okay, thank you. Next, we have a request for certificate of compliance. We're on item 4, 10 Great Meadow Road. It's the town of Burlington, DEP file number 122-630. Someone here representing the town for this project.
Yes, Joseph Fitzpatrick here. Good evening. I'm Joe Fitzpatrick with Weston Sampson Engineers. I'm here representing the new Public Works and Parks and Recreation Facility at 10 Great Meadow Road on behalf of the applicant, John Sanchez, Director of Public Works for the town of Burlington. We filed the notice of intent for this project with the Conservation Commission on June 28th, 2019, and the NOI was approved by the commission at the September 12th, 2019 public hearing. Construction commenced at 10 Great Meadow Road in January of 2020, and substantial completion was reached in June of this year. During this time, construction activities were bound by the conditions set forth in the order of conditions issued September 16th, 2019. Weston Sampson completed regular weekly site visits to ensure these conditions were being met. And additionally, Weston Sampson completed several focus site visits to observe the installation of key components of the drainage system as required. Throughout the duration of this project, Weston Sampson was in regular contact with the Conservation Department, providing the required reports and notifying the agent of any deficiencies observed during our weekly site visits. Weston Sampson feels that the requirements set forth in the order of conditions have been sufficiently met, and we have submitted our request for a certificate of compliance. I believe Eileen has shared the as-built on the screen, and I'd be happy to take any questions if you have them.
All right, thank you. Joiner Eileen, do you have a recommendation on issuing the certificate?
Can you guys hear me? Any better?
Yeah, it's pretty soft, Eileen, but we can hear you.
Just to reiterate, Weston and Sampson gave us inspection reports every week. They were very responsive about if, when anything was missed, they addressed it. We've all been to the site a few months ago, and at that time it wasn't 100% stable, but at this point I believe it is. Everything looks, to me at least, on the as-built plan as we expected. So I have no issues with this one.
All right, thank you. Any of the commissioners have any further issues or questions? All right, I have one question. Is there regular maintenance required to the 2 infiltration chambers that I see?
I'd have to check the spec and get you the information on that. I imagine there is for the manholes, yes.
Okay, so if,
It-
do we have that, John or Eileen? Already?
I'm just looking back to see if that's something we already received as part of the initial filing. I didn't have that.
All right, well, that can be resolved after the fact, I think, so.
I will definitely, I can get you the information on that right away for sure.
That's fine, thank you, sir.
I
All right,
appreciate it.
I'm hearing nothing further. Could I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for the project at 10 Great Meadow Road for the town of Burlington, DEP file number 122-630?
So moved, Bill.
Second,
Second, Indra.
Don, how do you vote?
Yes,
All right, Gail,
Yes,
Indra,
Yes,
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed? The chair votes yes, so by a vote of 700, the certificate of compliance for 10 Great Meadow Road, the town of Burlington, DPW facility is approved.
Okay,
Thank
just
you.
to confirm, I just had a quick look at the order of conditions, and it said that a long-term operation and maintenance plan was already submitted and that they are to adhere to that.
Can barely hear you, Eileen.
That was
Is
contained
there,
in everything.
Eileen, we can barely hear you, or I can
I
barely.
can't understand anything you're saying.
As part of the order and conditions, there's a long-term plan that was turned in. She reminded me, yes, so we have turned in the plan for the maintenance of those.
Okay, thank you. All right, if there's nothing further, sir, have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Next, we have a minor engineering change for 70 Mill Street, West Park. It's to add drainage structures under DEP file number 122-655, some renovation of the parking lot and so forth at the Rahanis Park. Is there someone from the town perhaps representing it?
Yes, I'm here. Megan Cavalier from engineering.
Oh, how are you?
Oh, I'm good.
Good to see you.
So I was wondering if you guys would mind if I share my plans.
Not at all, of course.
Can you see it?
It's coming up now. Yes, we can.
Okay, so basically what happened was there was already an existing puddling issue behind the parking lot near the playground. And when we fixed the parking lot, that escalated the problem. Apparently what had happened before was the parking lot was in such poor shape, a lot of the water would drain from the playground through the parking lot to the stream. So now that we have stopped that, the puddling issue has become a lot more severe, especially with all the rain that we've gotten this year. So what we propose to do is basically the same thing that we did on the other side, if you remember, small area drains connected with perforated pipe, and then we're going to connect that system into the existing system that we previously put in. We're just going to run them, we're going to put in 3 drains. You can see just 3 little small area drains, and then connect them to the other system and run that pipe under the new parking lot. So it kind of should take most of the water. I don't know if it will take all of it. That ground is very uneven, but it will definitely help the problem and stop these giant puddles from forming, which is definitely not safe to have with the parking lot or the playground there.
Okay, John or Eileen, do you have any comments on this?
Sure. So as Megan mentioned previously, a lot of that water would just roll over the parking lot and then off into the wetland and the stream. So this this design is an improvement on that. So anytime you don't have water going over pavements and picking up pollutants, it's an improvement. So and obviously the water. I was out there after the heavy rains, and the amount of water by the playground was just atrocious. You know, it was horrible. So this seems like a good solution.
All right, any of the commissioners have further comment on this one?
No comments.
All right, so this is a minor engineering change. I didn't hear anything else. It seems like everyone is in agreement, Megan, with what you're proposing. Could I have a motion to approve the minor engineering change for 70 Mill Street, known as Rahanis Park, to add some additional drainage structures under DEP file number 122-655?
So moved, Gail.
Second,
Second, Indra.
Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
yes,
Chair votes yes by a vote of 7-0-0. The minor engineering change for the project at Rahanis Park to add some drainage structures is approved.
Thank
Megan,
you.
thank you very much. Very efficient.
Thank you.
All right. All right, next on our agenda. Okay.
Larry, can you hear me any better now?
What's that?
Can you hear me any better now?
A little bit. It's a little bit
Okay.
clearer.
It's much clearer for me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, okay, so notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a WebEx virtual public meeting, during which time we will act upon a request for determination of applicability filed by Manise Donuts Incorporated. The commission will take all information related to a proposed drive-through lane and parking lot reconfiguration within a locally regulated riverfront area in the 100-foot buffer zone to stream bank and bordering vegetative wetlands. The property is located at the Dunkin' Donuts at 28 Wynn Street, and the commission will thereafter issue a determination. The application is being heard under the state Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the Wetlands Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. And you may obtain a copy of this application and the plan by emailing conservation@burlington.org. All right, is there someone here for this applicant?
Yes, Bill Lucas with Bowler.
All right, how are you?
I'm sorry, what was you got cut off at the end of that.
Larry's muted. I think he was just telling you to introduce yourself. And
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, okay, I was just, for some reason, I was muted again. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's all right, Larry. I wasn't sure if I was in error at that point.
I was simply asking, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well now that everything's operational again. Bill Lucas here with Boulder Engineering, representing Lisa Dempsey of Money's Donuts for the property at 28 Wynn Street, the Dunkin' Donuts, as you're familiar with. Essentially, this project started with some complications with the drive-through activity and cars backing out onto Wynn Street, specifically during the pandemic time when they were getting more drive-through business than usual. It's my understanding that Lisa then approached us and looked for design changes to the site itself in order to provide an additional drive-through lane. And as part of that, what we've proposed is a reconfiguration of the parking lot itself. So there are no changes to the building as part of this development, just to be clear. And as it's already been stated, there is a wetland and wetland buffer zone that currently exists on the northeast side of the subject site. As we stated, there's no changes to the building, but the proposed parking lot reconfiguration and additional drive-through lane is located approximately 45 feet away from the edge of the wetlands and partially within the 50-foot wetland buffer zone. The proposed parking lot configuration and additional drive-through lane will be located completely within the existing paved parking and the drive-through area with no new impervious surface created. As part of that renovation, additional grassed and landscape islands will be included in the parking lot layout and will result in a net increase of pervious surface. No additional impervious surface as part of the development. Stormwater runoff will continue to be collected on the roof and in the parking field pavement with closely reflecting the current drainage patterns that exist on the site. No new drainage devices are proposed, and we'll be directing all of that runoff to existing catch basins that are currently on site and then drain to the wetlands at the rear. Appropriate erosion and sedimentation controls will be installed to prevent any sediment-laden stormwater runoff from leaving the site. And E&S controls will be maintained as necessary until all disturbed areas have been stabilized through the end of construction. I think that's a general rundown, and I can open it up to questions.
All right, John or Eileen, do you have some comments to offer on this, on potential impacts or concerns?
Sorry, it's me. As Bill explained, this is a buffer zone project. It's also, I think, in the buffer zone to bank of a non-jurisdictional stream. As he also said, everything that's happening is within existing pavement. The only changes even to the pavement are that some parts are being cut out for additional landscaping. No stormwater improvements, but none would really be expected given the very minor scope of the changes to the landscape. I think the only thing that we noticed on our site visit was when Larry opened the gate in the fence, we realized that a lot of trash bins and old planters, it looked like they were being stored there from the Dunkin' Donuts. So, and a lot of grass clippings were being dumped very close to the wetlands. So we have included in the conditions that those will be removed, in the proposed conditions, should I say. But I don't have anything else to add, Larry.
All right, thank you, Eileen. All right, so Dawn, anything on this one? Dawn, can't hear you. Maybe you got muted too. All right, let's move on. Gail, anything on this one?
So just one thing, I mean, I wasn't at the site visit, but I saw the pictures and I know the location. Is there need to be a gate in this fence? I mean, there really shouldn't be anything going on behind that fence. I wonder if that could be gotten rid of. And then I looked at the planting plan. It looks all good. My only comment would be, why plant grass? I mean, why not just put some more? Are you just talking about the ornamental grasses, or is there planning to be like lawn type grass?
There's a combination of lawn and mulched areas with a variety of plantings,
Yeah,
shrubs.
I would be in favor of getting rid of the lawn type grass and putting in, maybe a few more of the plantings you have instead with some mulch, because in lawn, no matter what we put in our conditions, people end up putting herbicide and stuff on it and fertilizer, and then you've got lawn clippings you have to deal with, and I think it just would be better just to add some more plantings there. That's
Okay,
my opinion.
thank you.
May not be everybody's.
Dawn, are you online yet?
Yeah, I was having a technical problem. I have nothing further.
All right, thanks, Dawn. Indra, anything
No,
further?
I have nothing further.
Bill, anything?
I agree with Gail's comment about the gate. I don't think it's a necessity. It's just an attractive nuisance as far as the wetland protection is concerned. I do have one question, which is really unrelated to the application, but are you actually putting in a second drive-up window, or is this just an increase in the holding area for the cars lining up to use the one existing window?
It's not an additional window. It is just a second order point. So basically, the cars would approach, and you would have 2 lanes to order, and then they would merge back to one before they approach the singular window at the existing building.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Jennifer, anything?
Nope, Gail covered what I was thinking about too. So thank you.
All right, Ed, anything further?
Oh, pretty straightforward.
All right, then I have one question. Is there any part of the parking lot that is not connected to some type of drainage structure?
Not part of anything that would be redeveloped.
No, what I'm asking you is any part of the of the paved areas still running off to the back, essentially into the wetland, over stream over, in other words, shallow overflow.
Give me a second. I'm going to pull up a drawing just to confirm with the grading plan that there is not.
Okay.
Well, we have to fight through technology to get there.
Okay.
No, I'm pretty confident that the entire site, with respect to the paved area, is directed to existing catch basins, and really the only runoff that should be experienced from the site should be from grassed areas surrounding the parking lot. It's looks like it's pretty comfortably pitched back towards the center of the parking area for the most part, and then there's a catch basin which is on like the eastern side that looks like it would catch a significant portion of the runoff prior to anything overtopping a curb and then going into the wetland area.
Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
All right, so is there anyone in the audience for this? This is a request for determination of applicability to reconfigure the parking lot at the Dunkin' Donuts, 28 Wynn Street. Is there anyone in the audience that has a question or a comment, would like to say anything? All right, I guess not. So
Okay,
Eileen,
Larry, can I just interject before you continue?
yes,
John was looking through the previous order of conditions, and he noted that they were supposed to have submitted maintenance records, which they have not been doing.
oh dear.
I hadn't noticed this before.
Okay, so they're out of compliance with the order of conditions,
Right.
okay?
What's the date of that order of conditions by any chance?
That is a good question. John will chime in.
Thank you.
It's May 2004. May 28th, 2004, 122-373.
Were they supposed to do it after, did we issue a certificate?
I believe there is a certificate, but it's a continuing condition. It says maintenance records demonstrating compliance with the O&M manual shall be submitted to the Board of Health and Conservation Commission as they are generated. Failure to comply with the specifications set forth in the manual, blah, blah, blah. This condition shall be noted on the certificate of compliance and continue in perpetuity.
Okay, John, would it be reasonable for the commission to require the applicant to hire a licensed engineer, civil engineer, to do an assessment of the drainage structures and so forth?
Sure.
Okay,
Unless they have records that they can produce and they just haven't submitted them.
okay, all right, so it's up to the commission if they want to do that. I think, should we do it as part of this RDA, within the RDA conditions? Or should we do it as an enforcement, a friendly enforcement letter? It seems to me we can't follow up easily if it's only in the RDA. It doesn't have the enforcement provisions.
Right. No, an enforcement letter.
Right. You need a motion to write the enforcement letter from the commission, John?
Yes.
All right, okay, so here's where we are, folks. We have why don't we handle the draft negative conditional determination for the project. And if this gentleman has any comments, he's welcome to obviously make them. There's pretty much standard conditions, I suspect. And then we'll handle a motion on the enforcement letter. So Eileen, would you do the review on the highlights?
You muted, Eileen.
John, can you close it or else you share?
What, do you want me to close?
The determination.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's closed.
Okay. All right, sorry for the delay. I just didn't have that open. Okay. The applicant proposed to reconfigure a parking lot and add a drive-through lane within existing impervious area and to provide a new grassed and landscaped islands. New grassed and landscaped islands. No new drainage features would be added. The project included planting of 3 ornamental trees and 39 shrubs, mostly outside the buffer to bordering vegetated wetlands. No increase in impervious area was proposed, and the work was no closer to resource areas than existing. Then we listed all of the plans. There were several that were submitted. The closest work was approximately 45 feet from the BVW and within riverfront of a locally regulated stream. The Commission did not formally approve the exact boundaries of the wetland resource areas on site. The decision is to issue a negative determination of applicability for work only as noted in this decision. So under conditions, that was the same again, the repeat about no other work has been reviewed. All construction or demolition materials and excavated soil shall be exposed of off-site in a legal manner, and no excavated soil should be placed beyond erosion control boundary. I actually don't think we're requiring erosion controls because there's a vinyl fence that runs all the way along the back of the property. There shall be no stockpiling of soil or other materials within 50 feet of the wetland. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed, and if tracking does occur, sediments shall be swept daily. Protection of catch basins with silt sacks or equivalent is required for catch basins on site, and these shall be maintained as normal. The storage containers, old planters, and grass clippings currently stored behind the protective fence shall be removed. Debris, sediment, lawn clippings, and landscape materials shall not be dumped in the wetlands. Any dumping shall be immediately removed by hand. Existing gate in the fence shall be eliminated so there's no future dumping in wetlands. Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides should not be used within wetlands or within 100 feet of wetlands, and no removal of trees or shrubbery is authorized under this decision. 4 trees at the front of the site to be protected using wood and wire snow fence at the drip line as shown in the reference plans. And the last 2 conditions are a standard about commissioners or their designated representatives may enter upon the site to check, and non-compliance is a violation of the Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington bylaw.
All right, sir, is there anything you heard that you have a question about?
No, it's clear to me.
It's pretty standard conditions that are always in most of these things anyway.
Lisa, do you mind if Lisa, was there any concerns on your end about the conditions that were just read?
No, I have no concerns.
All right, so we reviewed the, any comments from the commission before we vote on it, on those conditions?
Just one, Larry, this is Bill. The requirement that the reporting annually of the OEM being followed, that will still be in effect from the original order of conditions. It doesn't need to be restated in this, does it?
No.
Gonna go back to normal. I am not
If it was in perpetuity, it's still in effect. It's not superseded by this.
All right, so could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the reconfiguration of the parking lot at 28 Wynn Street, the Dunkin' Donuts, on under Burlington Bylaw, Article 14 and State Wetlands Protection Act?
So moved, Ed.
Second, Don,
All right, Don, how do you vote?
yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Indra,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed,
yes,
chair votes yes by a vote of 7-0-0. The negative conditional determination for the Dunkin' Donuts on Wynn Street is approved. All right, so now I'd like to entertain a motion to direct staff to write an enforcement letter on behalf of the commission to O'Neill's Donut Incorporated for failure to submit required inspection documentation. And to further state the penalty that could accrue of so much per day, $300 per day per violation if this continues. And to direct the applicant to hire a licensed civil engineer to inspect the drainage structures and provide a report to the commission. If
So
that's
moved.
good enough, is there a motion?
So moved, Bill.
Second?
Second, Gail.
Second,
All right. Donna, Gale, any further comment? Indra or Bill, any further comment?
Just one, that this will be a friendly warning in writing, you know, but in the future, if it continues, there will be penalties imposed.
Right, and I think our staff, John and Eileen, usually have a standard paragraph that lets people know that too, in fact. Jennifer or Ed, any further comment?
No further comments at this time.
All right, the chair has nothing further. Sir, do you have any comment on this friendly enforcement letter that we're issuing?
I do not, and I understand. Thank you.
All right. Okay, hearing no further comment, could I have a motion to approve? I already did this, right? So it's already been moved. So we can just simply vote. Don, how do you vote?
yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Indra,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes,
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed,
yes,
and the chair votes yes. So by a vote of 7-0-0, the staff is directed to send these folks a friendly enforcement letter regarding the lack of drainage structure inspection reports. Okay? Is anything further on this one, anyone? All right, sir, I think we're all done. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, you too, sir. Okay. Okay, so now,
excuse me, Larry, I just do need to state for the record that I did watch the video of the last meeting that I did not attend. So therefore, I was eligible to vote on that and any other continued hearings tonight.
all right. Thank you for letting us know that, Bill. All right,
Larry, I'm sorry, can I interrupt? This is Jennifer. I need to make the same statement as well.
all right, all these admissions. Okay, anyone else?
Thanks.
All right, number 7, continued public hearing. This is a notice of intent, a continued public hearing for 26A Francis Wyman Road by the town of Burlington to rehabilitate the pump station and replace the force main, DEP file number 122-661. Is there someone here for the town representing that, other than our staff?
Yes, Brian White, Town of Burlington Engineering.
Hi, Brian.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. So, you have the floor, so feel free.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's a continuance from last meeting. I do have the plans if we need to review any of them. It was the proposal is to rehab a 50-plus-year-old pump station. No increased impervious, nothing outside of the dewatering area, no further disturbed area. It's part of the proposal, and the new force main would be located in the street. It's currently located, much of it, within wetlands and cross-country, and so it would be a brand new force main, all within the street.
Okay. All right. John or Eileen, do you have any comments on this one?
This is Eileen. Sorry, we had a little bit of trouble with the sharing just there a minute ago. No, I don't have any issues with this. I think it's a needed project. They have to upgrade the pump system, and getting the pipe out of the wetland or out from under the wetland is a huge benefit, and putting it in the roadway is really a better place for it to be. So I have nothing but warm feelings about this project.
Okay. All right, so let me see if any of the commissioners have anything. All right, so Dawn or Gail, do you have anything further on this? Just for the record, what I have listed here is we were going to remove and dispose knotweed we talked about, and we were going to talk about the assessment of check dams or something, or we talked about it. I don't quite remember where we left off on that, so I'll just throw that out there before people start talking. Dawn, anything further on this?
No, nothing further.
All right, Gail.
Nope.
All right, Indra.
Nope.
Bill.
I just have one question. I wasn't at the last meeting and it's not clear to me having watched the video. Is the old sewer pipe being removed or abandoned?
The old sewer pipe is being abandoned, so it'll be disconnected at the sewer manhole on Luther. It'll be cut and capped, plugged with concrete on that end, and then likewise at the pump station, cut and capped, plugged with concrete. So it'll be sealed off and no removal outside of paved areas.
Is it likely to end up filled with water over time, or is it going to stay empty? I'm concerned about things like I've heard of natural gas leaks seeping through pipes, into people's houses. Is this going to stay as an open pipe, or is it going to be flooded and wouldn't have that possibility?
So it will be drained as part of the decommissioning. Obviously, the force main will be drained back into the wet well, and so when it's plugged, it'll be completely empty. If there's obviously if there's cracks or if it deteriorates over time just from natural deterioration, depending on the groundwater elevations, if it's under the groundwater, it's going to likely fill to that elevation. If it's not, it probably won't.
What is it made out of?
I believe it's asbestos. I'm sorry, it's iron. It's cast iron or ductile iron. So we've had a few breaks on it, which is also what has led us to look at rehabbing the station and force main. Fortunately, the breaks have occurred in the street, so it's unfortunately it's unknown to assess the pipe condition in the cross country areas without actually getting in there and digging out the elbows and putting a camera down it.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't anticipate long term that this would have any impact on the wetlands?
No, it shouldn't.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, that was Bill. How about Jennifer? Anything further on this one?
No, nothing further.
Ed? Ed?
Ed, stay away from the camera for a minute.
All right. Ed, this is 28A, Francis Wyman. Anything further on it? Okay, I think you said no. I didn't hear you. Okay, got it. Okay, thanks, Ed. All right. So the item that I mentioned, we talked about, you were going to do an assessment. I talked about if there was a spill or something of oil or something, and without check dams, the stuff could go down into the wetlands where there's a wetlands crossing further down. And what I thought is you were going to render a judgment of what you would propose, if anything.
Sure. So I did speak with Weston and Sampson today regarding that issue.
Yes.
The only spills that we could I mean, once it's patched and there's asphalt on top, we don't foresee any chemicals or oil getting into it. So the only foreseeable hazardous material, if you want to call it, that would be if the pipe itself leaked or broke, releasing sewage. If it's under pressure, so if it does break, it's going to be it's not going to just leak. It's going to bubble the ground up. It'll probably breach through the surface of the roadway and spill out as it is. So it wouldn't eliminate a emergency situation. If they had suggested in other communities, they've put in bentonite dams in the trench at roughly the 100-foot riverfront, just for precaution. Like I said, it's not going to eliminate a break if it occurs, but it's possible it could mitigate it.
Yeah, yeah. What I was actually thinking, in addition to what you evaluated, I was thinking if there was an accident in the street and it somehow got into a manhole, and then it would flow along the outside of the pipe and down. So a bentonite dam, 100 feet at the 100 feet mark from the wetland would provide some relief from contaminating the wetland.
Sure. Yeah. So there are no sewer manholes as part of this pipe. So this pipe is going to be complete stretch. So there's no way for something to get if I mean I guess I'm not sure if I follow if a spill gets into an adjacent manhole, like a drain manhole, and that manhole has defects and gets into the force main trench, or
So what you're saying is there's no easy way for it to get to the outer annulus around the pipe.
correct. The trench that is dug for the force main pipe will only have force mains installed in it, with the exception of an air release manhole, which has an air release valve, which uh, obviously has backflow in it. Unless that thing blows off, there's no way it's designed so it releases air instead of the opposite. So it's possible. I think there's one or maybe two of the air release valves inside the manhole. There's no way for it to get out.
All right, so you're suggesting that a source of, by accident, a contaminant going to the annulus of the pipe is not likely given the way it's constructed.
Correct.
Okay, I accept that. That's fine. Thank you for looking at it. All right, so is there anyone has any further comment? This is a continued public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience for this, for the rehabilitation of the pump station and to replace the force main at starting around 26A Francis Wyman Road? Anyone in the audience? I guess not. So what we'll do is, do you have some draft documents, Eileen or John?
Okay, I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties here, but I'll try. All right, so we'll do the draft bylaw decision first. Project description, updating the sewer pump station and replacing the sewer force main. Work would be within a locally regulated riverfront area in the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands and bank. Then the next is the filing history. Wetland values and areas subject to protection. I went over the resource areas already. Then the discussion of the functions and values of the wetlands. Stormwater management, there's no drainage system in place on the pump station. Currently, part of the lot will be pitched to a proposed swale. The swale will contain a perforated pipe which will pitch towards the wetlands. And the pipe will be covered with crushed stone, gravel, and loam, which will be seeded. The commission finds that this low impact development technique is an appropriate design, certainly an improvement on what's out there now, which is basically no stormwater management at all. Then there's a discussion of the stormwater standards. Obviously, this is a redevelopment project. Other findings, the discussion of the resource areas. So in the riverfront area, proposed option minimizes the amount of disturbance and impact to the riverfront area. It will not have an impact on the functions and values of the riverfront areas. There's no net increase in impervious area. The abandonment of the sewage pipe that currently goes through the wetlands by relocating onto the road is a distinct improvement to the riverfront. In addition, the low impact development drainage system is an improvement to existing conditions in the riverfront area. In addition, there's a proposed removal of knotweed, although admittedly it'll be a temporary removal. We'll have a temporary improvement in the buffer zone and riverfront area. And let's see, the rest of it's all standard. The decision is a proposed draft negative determination. And there's no proposed bond as it's a municipal project. On to the bylaw. I'm on to the order of conditions, which is a fairly standard. Condition 20 is a reference of all the plans. All the orders, all the conditions on the first page are all standard conditions. Let's see, going ahead to the erosion control, which is the first thing that's really non-standard, is a discussion of what we're requiring on site, which will include compost filter tubes and silt fence fabric, or hay bales and silt fence fabric, silt sacks for the catch basins and the roads. So that's not really that different than normal. Condition 34 is a key one regarding dewatering. So we anticipate it's likely they'll have to dewater at the sewer pump station, possibly for the sewer line in the road, but certainly at the pump station it seems pretty likely. So we're going to want to see and approve a design before they actually start dewatering. Condition 35 is regarding stockpiling. Obviously they're going to have to stockpile fairly close, but we're going to want it encircled and covered. 36 is regarding sweeping. 37 is protecting the catch basins. Then the pollution control conditions are all standard. Conditions under landscaping conditions, starting with 45, is regarding the disposal of the knotweed. As Gail had mentioned, I think earlier, you can't just compost it or anything. It really has to be thrown out in the trash. 46 is a prohibition against chemicals on the site, landscaping type chemicals. 47 is regarding the maintenance of the swale. 48 is a requirement that the installation of the swale be witnessed by the design engineer. And then the rest of it is regarding getting a certificate of compliance.
All right. Thank you. Don, anything from you or Gail further on the order?
Nothing from me.
Gail?
I'll sit.
All right, Indra?
Nothing. No.
Bill?
Nope.
Jennifer?
Nope.
Okay, Ed, how did it sound?
No,
Okay, I had nothing further. All right, so is there any further comment from anyone on the project of 26A Francis Wyman Road? Could I have a motion to close the hearing on the project at 26A Francis Wyman Road, proposed by the town of Burlington to rehabilitate the pump station and replace the force main?
so moved, Ed.
Second, Bill.
Bill, Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes,
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes,
Chair votes yes by a vote of 7-0-0. The hearing is closed. Could I have a motion to adopt the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14? 26A Francis Wyman Road.
So moved. Indra.
Second,
second, Ed.
Second, Don.
okay. Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Indra,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed?
yes,
The chair votes yes by a vote of 700. The findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 are approved. Could I have a motion to adopt the draft order of conditions under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and the State Wetlands Protection Act for 26A Francis Wyman Road?
So moved, Gail.
Second, Bill.
Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Indra,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed?
yes,
The chair votes yes, so by a vote of 700, the order of conditions for 26A Francis Wyman Road are approved by a vote of 700. All right. Uh, Brian, is there anything further in this from you?
No, no, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you guys for your time and have a good evening.
Yes, you too. Take care.
Thank you.
Right. Next, we have a continued public hearing, I believe. Let's see, is it a public hearing? Yes. Notice of intent for filed for 15 Dolores Drive by Sunshine Realty Trust. Demolish an existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling. DEP file number 122-662. All right, who's here for that project?
Yeah, hi, it's David Romero, Commonwealth Engineering. I'm here.
All right, David, how are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
Very good.
All right, so would you like to say anything further on this open hearing for 15 Dolores Drive?
Sure, I wasn't there, but I know there was a site visit last week
Yep.
with the staff, and I believe the wetland line was reviewed, and I believe there were no changes to that line. As far as the plan goes, the only change that we have made is we kind of made the fence line a little more regular. We straightened it out, and
Yep.
still runs fairly much along the 20-foot no disturb. But it's at least now it's a straight fence line, and it seems more natural now. And I think that's only a change to the plan.
All right, so basically the only change is the fence doesn't have so many curves in it.
Right.
All right, so John or Eileen, anything further, anything unresolved from your point of view?
No, nothing unresolved. We did indeed meet with, I think it was Mr. Cormier on site, and we did some borings, and we were generally in agreement with the wetland line as they found it. We told them they could straighten out the fence a little bit, but they didn't straighten it very much, so that's totally fine. That's up to them. We also confirmed that no major trees are coming down in the course of the construction, at least unless just something becomes an issue in the field. There's a couple of large arborvitaes at the front. They are, of course, coming down, and some shrubs are, but none of, because we had a concern about trees, none of the trees in front of this 20-foot no disturb line at all are coming out,
All right,
is my understanding.
very good. Thanks, Eileen. All right, Dawn, anything further?
Nope.
Gail,
No.
Indra,
Nope.
Bill,
No.
Jennifer,
Nope.
Ed?
no,
The chair has nothing further. Is there anyone in the audience for 15 Dolores Drive who would like to talk to the commission about this project? Yes, not. All right, so you have some proposed draft documents to review, Eileen or
I
John.
will share them in just a minute. I just wanted to say thank you to David Romero. He's taken to sending these nice colorized sort of plans. I think they make things really, really clear. I think it's very nice. Thank you, David.
Sure.
I will just share. I'll start with the bylaw, hopefully. Yes. Oh no, that's Brian's. Sorry about that. Let me close his. Oh no, it's not. That's weird. It's not open. No, that's still the same one. This makes no sense. Sorry. All right, here we go. Now we're going to get it. Okay, sorry for the technical difficulties that were entirely on my end. So a notice of intent and bylaw application was filed for demolition of an existing, I'm not muted, right, single family residence deck, attached deck, a detached deck, driveway and removal of shrubs and construction of a new single family dwelling, attached garage, paved driveway, deck, paved walkway, deck, driveway and associated grading and utilities. And I'm proposing planting of 4 shrubs within the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland. Then we go into the filing history, and the plan document references are basically the plan, very similar to what we just shared from David. The proposed work was within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. The closest point of the proposed new dwelling at the rear deck was approximately 44 feet from the BBW, and the closest part of the main house was 55 feet from the BBW. The deck of the existing house was only 32 feet from the BBW, and the detached deck and shed that were to be removed were both less than 10 feet from the BBW. Stormwater management, this is exempt from stormwater management as it's a single family home. However, they are infiltrating the runoff to the maximum extent possible. They are proposing to infiltrate into an underground recharge system, and the driveway, that's the roof, and the driveway will be pitched to a stone infiltration trench. Stormwater calculations demonstrate a net reduction in peak discharge rates for all storm events, and this permit will also serve as a permit under the erosion and sedimentation control bylaw. Just scrolling down to the end, we are proposing a bond, a cash performance guarantee in the amount of $3,500 for this project. Now I'll share the order. In just a moment. Okay, so the order references the same plans, the notice of intent plans as were referenced in the bylaw. Scrolling down, everybody knows that the first several conditions here are just as standard. They'll give us notice a few days before the project, and we'll go out that we will go out and inspect, and we'll need to have evidence that the order's been filed with the Registry of Deeds, and that the DEP file numbers is up, and that erosion controls are in place at that time. We are proposing that the erosion controls shall be installed along the line shown in the reference plan and along the property line back to the wetlands line of hay bales. So hay bales across the back, and wattles will be okay on the frontage and down both sides. Materials should not be stockpiled on site within 40 feet of the wetlands, and no dewatering unless conservation or the commission approves a plan. At the end of the workday, sweep the street, catch basins to be protected with silt sacks. No additional grading beyond which is in the approved plan shall be permitted without speaking to the conservation first. Most of the pollution control ones are a standard, no more than 50 gallons of fuel, and the evidence, everybody knows about that one. David's heard these 100 times before. No pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides to be used within 100 feet of the wetlands. For stormwater management, the rooftop runoff shall be infiltrated on site as shown in the approved plan, and an infiltration trench shall be installed along the driveway as shown in the approved plan. And this trench shall be maintained and not removed while the driveway is present, and this shall be noted on the certificate of compliance. For buffer zone restoration or landscaping or demarcation, a fence shall be installed approximately 20 feet from the BBW line across the rear of the lot. In some areas, the fence may be closer than 20 feet, and the new fence shall not have gates. This shall be maintained in perpetuity. No removal of trees is permitted by this decision. Shrubs, including the arborvitae at the front, may be removed, and the shrubs surrounding the deck and shed may be trimmed or removed to facilitate their demolition. Removal of any other trees will require additional approval. We're proposing that 4 native shrubs shall be planted in the area behind the demarcation fence, and no temporary occupancy permit shall occur prior to establishment of the shrubs. Any debris in the wetland shall be cleared by hand. And the last two are just the standard ones about how to go about getting a certificate of occupancy. And perpetual conditions are 40, 45, 47, 48, and 49.
All right, so Dawn or Gail, any changes to the order of condition of the findings?
No, nothing further here.
Indra
Yeah,
or
nothing
Bill?
for me.
No.
Nothing, no.
Jennifer or Ed?
Oh,
Okay. I have one question. John or Eileen, should there be any required inspection reports, or I'm not sure that's needed, but do you recommend we do anything on that?
I don't think it's necessary in this case. We don't typically require them for single family houses unless it's a particularly delicate site.
Okay, well, I was just asking. I agree with you, actually, but
Okay.
just want to see.
I inspect all of the sites on a fairly regular basis. I do spot checks.
That's fine. I don't see anything particularly precarious on this particular project. All right, so if there's nothing further, could I have a motion to close the hearing on 15 Dolores Star Drive, DEP file number 122-662?
So moved, Bill.
Second.
Ned,
Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes,
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
yes.
Ed?
yes,
Chair votes yes, the hearing is closed for 15 Dolores Drive. Could I have a motion to approve the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for 15 Dolores Drive?
so moved, Indra.
Second.
Second, Don.
All right, Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes,
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
yes,
Chair votes yes by a vote of 7-0-0. The findings are approved under Burlington Bylaw Article 14. All right, could I have a motion to approve the order of conditions as reviewed for the project at 15 Dolores Drive?
so moved it,
Second.
Second, Gail.
And that motion is under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and the State Wetlands Protection Act. All right, so Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Indra?
yes,
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Ed?
yes,
Chair votes yes. The order of conditions for the project at 15 Dolores Drive is approved. Could I have a motion to require the posting of $3,500 bond performance surety under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for the project at 15 Dolores Drive?
so moved, Indra.
Second.
second, Ned,
Any questions on the commission on the amount? Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes,
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Jennifer? Thank you. Ed?
yes,
And the chair votes yes. So by a vote of 7-0-0, the requirement to post $3,500 surety under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for 15 Dolores Drive is approved. Okay, so I think, David, I think we're all set on this one.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for your time on this one. Okay, so where are we? We have a public hearing. All right. So notice is hereby given. The commission will hold a virtual public hearing during which time we'll take information related to requests for amendment to an order of conditions, DEP file number 122-656, filed by the Langone Development Group for additional grading and site changes at 6 Terrace Hall Ave. The proposed work would be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands being heard under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. Commission will review all information relative to the application and may issue an amended order of conditions for this proposed project. The application material is available online under the Conservation Commission's webpage. All right, so do we have someone talking about this project, for this project?
Yes, my name is Jonathan Langone. I'm from Langone Development Group. How are you tonight?
All right, good evening, how are you?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Good, all right, so listen, you get the floor first, so why don't you give us a little summary of what is going on?
Okay. So I was before you on April 8th regarding the order of conditions for 6 Terrace Hall, and we started construction at the property, and so the rear grading was just a little steeper than we were like, so that's why I had proposed a retaining wall to try to level off the grades a little bit. And then also with the retaining wall, I was also looking to put a rear patio underneath the rear deck and connect the patio to the driveway as well. And that was pretty much it for changes. It wasn't a lot of changes from the original order of conditions that was approved.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. All right, so Eileen or John, you have some comments for us on the proposed amendment?
It'll be Eileen again. I don't really have any comments. Most of his proposed changes are quite small. I just want a clarification from Jonathan. The retaining wall that you're proposing, is it this boulder wall that you're calling here, which is the demarcation line, or is it something at the 134 line?
So the boulder wall, I'm sorry, are you looking for clarification on the wall or the demarcation line?
On the retaining wall, where is it in this plan? I'm just not.
So it's like the circles, like a retaining wall. So the boulder wall, it is just like it's a retaining wall.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's the approximately like 2-foot boulders that we'll like build a wall out of, and instead of like a fieldstone wall or a block wall. So
Okay,
they're very large boulders that like cannot be moved easily without heavy equipment.
So that's gonna go across the whole site, Jonathan? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's gonna connect from it would be the south side, and then it's gonna go across towards like the northeast and tie into the existing fieldstone wall that we have constructed already.
Right, got it. All right, Eileen, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Anything further?
No, I think when we were out at the site yesterday, we sort of understood his intent with the wall, and it did seem to make sense. And just to clarify for Jonathan as well, he had been asking me about whether we intended for him to remove that pile at the back, right down to the level of the rest of the ground around it, and that is indeed what our intent was. Yes, just to confirm that. We spoke about that on the site yesterday, Jonathan. I don't have any other particular issues with this, Larry.
All right, I'd like to start with Bill. May I start with you this time?
Yes, you may. I have no other concerns. The wall is now understood, and I'm glad to see that the pile of debris is going to be lowered to the natural level. So I'm fine with it.
Okay. Don?
Nothing further.
Okay. Gail?
So I just want to make clear, because I guess I don't understand how this is a retaining wall. Is there, I do remember it does drop off towards the back, I believe, but is there any grade being changed here? Is it, are you just putting boulders along that line? Are you putting any fill or anything like that?
So yes, the boulders, we will be filling to the top of the boulders after they're installed. So there is a little bit of fill that is going to be installed like behind the boulders. So
behind the boulders, so
yes, towards the house.
Towards the house, okay. And
yes.
Okay. I guess I would think of that as in front, but that's okay. So is it what we're looking at here? Is this what reflects the grade change, or is it just, is it going to be, are you going to grade it down to there, or is it just bringing in fill in front of those boulders?
Yes, so we will grade it down to the top of the boulders. So right now, there's approximately like a 3 to 3.5 foot grade change from
Yeah.
the basement floor to the existing grade.
Okay,
And we're looking to raise that up by approximately like 2.5 feet. So instead of having like a 4 foot grade change, we'll have a 2 foot grade change.
okay. And is that shown on this plan? The grade? The
Yes,
grade that you're,
the grading is shown on,
so it's a
on
134?
correct,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, so I just didn't know, I didn't look at your plan from before, wasn't clear whether, this had been updated. Okay, so it's going from like 132, 133 to 134, okay. And then the boulders aren't gonna be, the boulders are gonna be above that, right? They're gonna be exposed?
You won't see them from you will not see them from like the rear of the backyard. If you were to go in the wetland, yes, they'll be like and look towards the back of the house, and
All right,
yes, you'll see.
so I guess my question then is, how is this a demarcation then? If how is this like a boundary between the property and the wetland if the soil is brought up to the top of the boulders on the house side?
So the boulders are large; that you cannot move them, but without having like heavy equipment. I mean,
Well, I guess what my concern is, if that's gonna be at like the level of the yard, somebody dumping a wheelbarrow over it. Would that be possible? If we have problems with that, people drop
Okay.
their grass clippings and all kinds of stuff into the wetland.
I mean, it is possible, but this is also going to be noted in the certificate of compliance.
Yeah, it's noted in
So
every certificate of compliance.
they will be aware of it. But
So I guess my question is, should we have a, generally we have something that prevents people from doing that on these kind of properties. Should we have like a, post and rail in front of that or not? I mean, if it doesn't prevent people from dumping things into the wetland, then it doesn't serve the same purpose as what we do on other properties.
I mean, that would be, I would say, the discretion of the commission. I mean, a post and rail fence. I mean, if somebody really wanted to dump it back there, they could just dump a bag of grass clippings over
Sure.
the post and rail. So, I mean, it really depends on the person. So it's hard to say. I mean, I think that's the reason why we've been putting it in the certificate of compliance, so they are aware of, like, yes, you're not allowed to dump anything back there.
All right, well, those are my concerns.
All right, so.
One question. So there is like a 2 foot drop behind this wall once it's filled?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that about right, 2 feet? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 feet, 2.5 feet. Yes.
Indra,
Nothing further.
Jennifer,
No, I don't have anything further at this time.
Ed.
Nothing to add.
All right. I am not in favor of a post and rail fence. It's not going to do anything. Either you're going to put up a solid wall off and cut the yard, the look of the yard in half, which is already pretty small, or you just leave it the way it is with a 2 foot drop. And if it comes to our attention, it would be an enforcement matter, and you let the people who buy it know that no dumping in wetlands is allowed. That's sort of kind of the way we go with a lot of things too. So that's the
I
choice.
agree, Larry. It's clearly demarcated by this 2 foot drop. It's not meant to be a barrier. It's really a demarcation, and that's what it is.
Right, right. Okay, so is there anyone in the audience for this? This is an amendment to an existing order of conditions for 6 Terrace Hall Ave to build a wall and a little bit of grading. All right. Eileen or John, was it anticipated that we would close? Are we going to have an amended hearing, hold it open and close it the next time?
It's up to you guys. I did draft something in case you prefer to just get it closed tonight.
It sounded like there are non-issues, Eileen. Is that what you heard?
I think on the whole, although I think from the amendment that I proposed, I'm thinking that maybe it might be an idea to ask Jonathan to put up a sign at the edge of the boulders or near somewhere around the boulders to say, you know, wetland, no dumping or something like that, which I don't yet have in the amendment, but I can put it in there.
Good point, good point. All right, so
This is a public hearing that was open tonight, and in our introduction, we say we will not close any public hearings that are open tonight.
Okay.
That's for full public hearings. I'm not sure we clarified whether that applies to simple amendments.
Well,
I'm
we
in
do,
favor-
we do,
I'm
we
in
do
favor
say,
of closing it unless the commission disagrees. Either way. All right, well, why don't we try a motion? If you vote against it, then we'll close next time. Could I have a motion to close the hearing on the amendment to DEP file number 122-656?
So moved, Ed.
Second,
Second, Don,
all right. Don, how do you vote?
yes.
Gail?
Can I ask a question? So would Eileen be able to amend her conditions that, you know, with what she wanted to put in there?
Well, we haven't reviewed and approved them, so I think we can do that.
Okay. Yes.
Well, maybe we should just redo this and have her review the documents first. That's probably the proper way of doing it. What do you think, Gail?
I'm not sure if that's, you know, in terms of procedural, whether that's the.
Yeah, that's the way we
doing that
should do
first.
it. Well, I think
Okay.
that's the way we should do it.
Okay.
All right, so let's hold off on voting on that. Let's, Eileen or John, would you just review the draft document for the amendment?
I will. Let me just get it ready. I thought it was ready. There. There we go. Okay. Applicant, as in the original order of conditions, is Jonathan Langone. The proposed amendment is for adjusting the grading, constructing a retaining wall along the southerly property line, incorporate a grass swale, relocate the deck stairs northeasterly, construct a patio beneath the deck with a walkway to the driveway, and add a boulder wall as the permanent demarcation. This is the filing history. This just assumed it was going to close tonight. I wasn't at all sure we would. Here, the commission hereby amends the order of conditions, file number 122-56656, subject to the terms of the original order of conditions and as amended by the following. All conditions from the original order of conditions not modified herein remain in effect. Amended conditions are revised plan references. We have a new notice of intent plan, last revised 8/17/21. We are amending this one slightly to say that the infiltration trench shall be installed along the driveway as shown in the approved plan. This trench drain shall be maintained and not removed while the driveway is present. That was already existing. The new part is a swale shall be constructed inside the southern property line to prevent runoff to the neighboring property. This swale shall be maintained and shall not be filled in. This condition shall be noted in their certificate of complying as existing in perpetuity. I had said a post and rail fence or other demarcation shall be installed approximately 20 feet from the BBW across the rear of the lot. New fence, if new, shall not have gates. What we could do is change that to just say 1 or 2, whatever you want, signs shall be installed at the borderline, noting that no dumping in wetlands. And these signs shall be maintained in perpetuity and noted on the certificate of compliance. It could be something like that.
Okay.
Eileen, I would recommend leaving the text that is there. The fence or other demarcation includes this wall, and that should be maintained in perpetuity. So in addition to this, you would then add signage to the demarcation.
Okay, so at the end we could say in addition.
Yeah.
Like
I don't want it to be mistakenly construed that signage is enough. without a wall or a
No,
fence.
I could do that. So in addition, 1 or 2 signs? What do you think? Like one on
2.
each side? Um, just something like that. 2 signs reading wetlands no dumping, or something. We don't have to give them the words. Shall be installed at the boulder line, and then retain the part. But this demarcation shall be maintained in perpetuity and noted on the COC.
Great.
Okay. I think you have to say either a post and rail fence, or you have our other you're all set, our other demarcation, such as a wall. Such as a stone wall, you should say.
I'm gonna say boulder wall or boulder line.
Yeah, boulder wall.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, good. All right.
And that's it. Those are the additional conditions that we thought were appropriate.
Okay,
Unless
any changes or additions by the commission?
Nope.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to close the hearing. Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Indra,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed.
Yes,
The chair votes yes by a vote of 7-0-0. The hearing for the amendment to the order of conditions for 6 Terrace Hall Ave is, the hearing is closed. Okay, could I have a motion to approve the amendment to the existing order of conditions for 16 Terrace Hall Ave under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 and State Wetlands Protection Act for site and grading changes to DEP file number 122-656?
So moved, Gail.
Second.
All right. Dawn, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Indra,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Ed,
yes,
and the chair votes yes by a vote of 7-0-0. The amendment to the existing order of conditions for 6 Terrace Hall Ave is approved. Jonathan, I think you're all set.
All right, great. Have a great night, guys.
All right, you too. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so okay, so notice is hereby given. We're on items. We're gonna go 10, 11, and 12 all at once here. Notice is hereby given. The Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a virtual public hearing on Thursday, September 23rd. What was that? Okay, the purpose of these. I'm getting an echo. Does that people hear? Okay, I'll read through
I
it.
think
Some-
Mary has to mute.
Could you mute everyone?
Okay, they're muted.
All right, let's try it again. It's gone. I was getting a severe echo. Sorry, guys. Notice is hereby given. The Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing during which time will take information related to a revised notice of intent filed by Somerset Realty Trust. It is for the construction of a new roadway extension and 2 dwellings on Redmond Road in Burlington. The proposed work would be within the bordering vegetative wetlands and its buffer zone pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the Wetlands Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. The commission will review all information relative to the revised application and thereafter may issue an order of conditions and a Burlington Wetlands permit for the proposed project. The application materials are available online at the Conservation Commission website. Okay, so is someone here for that? Phyllis, you're muted, I think.
Sorry, I muted to try to avoid the background noise. I'm here representing Robert Murray with David Romero, Commonwealth Engineering, the engineer of record, Mary Trudeau, the wetland scientist, and Billy Rudolph, also from Murray Hills. And with that, why don't I let either David or Mary, who's ever ready, to begin the presentation?
Okay, I can start, Mary, if you'd like. So I think most of the commission is somewhat familiar with this product. We've had different versions before you, and we're here again with what we think is an improved configuration to basically access two existing lots from an existing street, Redmond Street. And this project is proposing to improve the street so that we now have pavement in front of the lots and providing safe access to the lots. And what we've come full circle. We've gone through different versions of trying to come from the other direction from Raymond Road. We've had different versions, configurations of pavement, from a T-type turnaround to what you see in front of you now, which is a full circle, which is something the planning board was and the fire department was really very much interested in. And unfortunately, that also created more impervious. So we came up with and I know this has been recommended before, we came up with a configuration that utilizes retaining walls and has a fairly narrow road of 18 feet wide, which matches what Redmond Street is now anyway. Redmond Street, and it goes from anywhere from 17 to 20 feet wide. So we were proposing an 18-foot wide pavement to then approach a full circle, 80-foot diameter circle for full turnaround. And those circles would be partially on the lots in easements, but then that would provide, again, safe access and egress from the site for any kind of safety equipment or any vehicular travel. The houses are shown on two lots, number 4 and number 5, are about the same as they were from beginning, and they're about the same size and shape. We'll have 20-foot wide driveways. The driveways themselves are about 20 feet long, maybe a little bit longer. And there will be a full drainage system on site. We'll have 2 catch basins that will collect all the stormwater runoff, which would include the driveways. And those 2 catch basins will then convey that to a water quality device, and then further up to a large infiltration system that's located behind the house, number 4, Redmond Street. And we're located there because that is where we found the best, most suitable soils. The groundwater was low there, and we were able to achieve our 2-foot separation and still have very good soils, all very sandy gravel material. So it's very suitable for infiltrating the runoff. I will note that the runoff from the roof on house number 4 will also be connected to runoff on site. We're going to have chambers for that roof well. Roof of number 5 will go into that same large system. So again, there are 2 retaining walls along the edge of the pavement. The highest point, I believe, is about 6 feet high, right at the crossing where the stream is. And we're proposing a large culvert there, about 8 foot 9 feet wide and about 2 feet tall. So it's kind of broad, but it's shallow, so that we have a open bottom so that we can let the natural stream occur as it is now, and hopefully it'll go back to its native condition. And by doing all this, we were able to keep the wetlands down so that we're filling a little bit over 4,000 square feet of wetland fill. Replication, we are going to replicate wetland 1-to-1 on this plan here at the green areas, both on the lower lot. Right now, the area to the left there is a pretty large area that's actually been filled over time by we're not sure how the abutting property appears that. So we will clean that out and restore that back to a wetland. So that will be replication. And then also on the other side of the lot, a smaller area, which again is not too much of a cut. We'll be able to achieve the same grades and also create wetland there as well. And in lieu of the 2-to-1 replication, we are again offering a piece of property that's off of McSweeney or Somerset Street, which is very near to this property. It's about, I think it's about 1.7 acres that will be donated to the town for conservation purposes. So I guess that's in general, that's about what we're doing. Again, we think this is an improvement to what we've had. And again, use of retaining walls has allowed us to do this. And we've minimized what we can impact to the site and the footprint to the property. I don't know if Mary might want to speak to the wetland line, because I think that since the last time we met, the wetland line has been changed.
Okay, Mary?
Is there anything you can say, Mary, for the wetland line itself, the revised line? I don't know if Mary can't hear me.
I don't think she can hear you.
Well, so we did have another consultant come out and did meet with the staff on site. And what you see there on the plan is I guess you want to call it, is a little bit adjusted line, modified or perfected, maybe is a better word, showing the delineation of the wetland. It was quite questionable in the middle there. There's kind of a high point, little saddle there in the middle, and a lot of question exactly where the wetland is, which way it went, this way or that way. But I believe the staff and the LEC consultant did agree on this line that you see in front of you now, and it runs through the circle, as you see, a little finger-like projection to the left and also to the right. And I believe that's the final wetland line.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay. All right. All right. So, Mary Trudeau, can you unmute? It looks like you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. David asked if you had any comments on the wetlands at all.
Do you know, truthfully, I just got my sound. I missed everything that Phyllis and David said.
Oh, yeah. Isn't technology wonderful?
I know. They looked good, but I don't know. What was the question about? Was the wetlands line set?
Well, he asked if you had any further comments on changes to the wetland line or anything, I think is what he was saying.
No, I agree with the changes made by LEC, and I think that they were a good effort to refine the line even further.
Very good. All right, so John or Eileen, I think what we'll do is we'll take a list of questions or things that need follow-up, and then we'll just review it at the end, and everyone can sort of make a list of what we think they've heard. So, and I'll run through it at the end of tonight's proceeding. So, John or Eileen, do you have comments for the commission?
Sure. So, I mean, one set of comments that I'll start with will probably be also addressed through the planning board hearing, but it's the ownership of the stormwater system. So there's the proprietary CDS is outside of the paved cul-de-sac, although it appears to be, it's actually in the paper street. And the infiltrator itself is at the rear of lot 2A. Part of it is in that lot, and part of it is in a different lot, which isn't currently part of this subdivision. So that will need to be cleared up. Either that triangular lot eliminated and added onto this lot, just so it'll be clear who's responsible for maintaining these structures. I don't know if you're contemplating a homeowners association or if it's just the owner of this particular lot 2A that'll be responsible for it. But and I'm sure you'll be hashing that out with the planning board. So, but to the wetland issues, the retaining wall is a huge improvement. It reduces the amount of wetland fill by hundreds of square feet. The replication meets the DEP 1-to-1 requirement. As you know, the bylaw has a 2-to-1. But that's you're flexible on that. So as long as the state is met and they're offering something other than replication as mitigation. And in this case, they're offering to donate land, which is directly abutting town conservation land. So that's certainly something worth considering. The culvert, I think the culvert meets the stream crossing standards, even though it's probably not likely a fish-bearing stream. We have talked with engineering, and I think they're going to want it switched to a concrete pipe rather than a corrugated metal pipe, but the size of it seems fine. I think we've already mentioned that we did agree with the wetland tweaking of the wetland line earlier. I think that's it for now, Larry.
All right, thank you. All right, Dawn, do you have any questions on this yet?
Yeah, I've got a few. What are the what is the elevation at the very center of the cul-de-sac? Oh, good. What's the elevation right in here?
The center,
Yeah, where my cursor, or yeah, in the center of the cul-de-sac.
um, so approximately 147 roughly.
Okay, so this this chart is just notations made on your plan. And what I'm concerned about or questioning is, so the end of Raymond Road, or actually from Church Street, you've got to your foundation at 140, which is 141.8. You've got like almost a 60-foot drop. And if you recall the video that we saw that a neighbor had shown, that's why you got that water flow looking like a torrential river. So the point is, everything is going down below your property. The lowest thing beyond your foundations is up in the wetlands, down behind the property, up to the where you see the 136, 134, 134. Is your infiltration system going to be able to protect the wetlands from the water hitting your house and coming down from, again, on the other side? You've got a decline of 22.5 feet going from the beginning of Redmond and Bedford Street down to your foundation there, the foundation at 141.65. So everything is basically hitting your property and then draining into the wetlands behind. That's the picture we got when we put these numbers with your drawing, and it looks like it might be presenting a problem to the wetlands back there. That's all I have.
Dawn, are you talking about handling the water coming down Raymond Road and into the wetlands?
Coming down Raymond and Redmond.
All right.
And then if you look at the elevations, everything's going to the wetlands. Downhill from the infiltration system, but it's coming from at least two directions. At the bottom of Fairfax, the end of Fairfax, you've got a fairly, it's less of an incline in, so water may actually wind up heading to Fairfax as well, but you can see where the water's going to wind up. Can your system handle all that? That's the concern I have.
Don, I'm not saying, Don, I'm not suggesting it's not a real issue. I'll just add to what you're saying. The edge of the infiltration is about, I think it's like 50 feet to the edge of the bordering vegetative wetlands, that edge of the infiltration area. So it's about 50 feet. I'm not sure what that means, but it's a considerable distance.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the way stormwater flows these days and given to the fact that it's going to get worse with climate change, my question is, we ought to know if the system they're proposing can actually handle this. It's going to be a huge load.
All right. Mary Trudeau or I guess David, you're on this. Do you have any comments to what I think Dawn is articulating?
Well, I'm not really sure, but we've designed for the road. That's what we're required to do. We're handling the runoff that comes from the new pavement, and that's what we have. We have the catch basins that are sized for that, the piping that's sized for that, and the infiltration system that's designed for that too, 2 feet above the groundwater. We don't have any measures or anything to stop runoff coming down from Raymond Road. That's going to continue, but I do know that water goes into the existing wetland, and I know one of the reasons for wetlands is that they do provide flood control, and we are not going to be changing that. We can't. So the flood control is what it is now, and so we're not going to either make that worse or not going to make that better either. But we're not allowed to increase the runoff off of our site, and that's what we're showing. We're mitigating for the runoff that we're producing from our pavement and with the catch basins and our infiltration system. So I don't think it'll be affected by anything coming down Raymond Road. And Redmond Street has some sort of a drainage system now. And again, we're not going to make that any better or any worse. We're providing provisioning for our new piece of pavement was what we show on our plan.
David, let me ask Don's question a little differently, okay? Because what he brings up is you're filling a wetland and you're providing compensation. Okay, so the area you're filling, how is that? Is it the same? And then you're replicating in 2 different areas. Okay, so the question is the area you filling, are they separate and distinct, or are they actually, it's all one connected wetland, so that in other words, the replication is not contributing more wetland to one side of a wetland versus wetland to another side, so you're changing the distribution of the water. I don't know if it's all one continuous wetland, then it probably is a moot point.
It really is one large system. There's a little finger projection between them, and we are replicating mostly in that large piece, and that's where we're replicating. And again, it's about we're actually a little more than 1-to-1 ratio replication, and we have a little bit more on the other side to the right on the plan. And so, but it does replace what's being filled for the most part. Yes, that's true.
You're not changing the distribution of the way you're replicating water to one part versus water to another part, are you? Or do you need to look at it?
No, not really, because again, this is one large system that's connected.
Okay.
Beyond even you can see on this plan. So it's one large system that's connected, but even immediate to the site, it's pretty much the same. Again, a 1-to-1 ratio.
And is it still connected after your project, or is it become 2 separate wetlands divided by?
No, it stays connected. We're not changing that. We're just again, we're filling a part and we're going to replace it and a part that's pretty close to where we're actually filling. It's not too far off. So it's in the same general area.
All right, thank you for that answer. All right, Dawn, are you done with this?
Just one follow-up question. Are you planning on putting sump pumps into the basements?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you gonna have pumps in the basements?
Right now, I don't think we propose any pumps in the basement, no.
Okay, I don't have anything else.
All right. All right, thank you, Don. Gail?
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. So with the kind of road that you've got constructed here, you mean that's dividing that wetland in that part, or is it are you proposing that the culvert, that the flow through the culvert is going to equal, the distribution of how water would be on each side of that new road? Of what it was before? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, the culvert's designed so that we have certain requirements for a stream crossing that we have to provide.
Yep.
It's a pretty large opening, that's why it's such a big culvert. And again, that's set by DEP, so yeah, we do meet that. So that's why it's about almost 9 feet wide, so it provides it allows for that stream cross to continue as is.
Right. So you did, following up on what Larry was talking about in terms of, whether the wetland is, be able to function as it was before. My question is, and I know that you're not responsible for the water that comes from different areas that are off your site. However, that water is going there presently and being, hopefully controlled by the wetland acting like a sponge and taking up floodwaters and so forth. But now you're adding this impervious, roadway, these houses, driveways and whatnot, and that water is now going to be infiltrated on site, and that wasn't there before. So, does this wetland have the capacity to take that plus what's already going to that site?
Well, we're not putting any more water into the wetland itself, not directly.
So
right?
it's not gonna, it
we're
won't, go ahead.
So we're collecting runoff in our paved area with the catch basins, and then we're putting it into the infiltration system. And that infiltration system is supposed to mimic what we're paving over.
Okay, so that's far enough away from the wetland that it's not going to,
It'll go into the ground, and it'll eventually hit the groundwater, which is what it's meant to be.
yeah, okay. So my other questions were related to kind of the locations of the houses. And is there, so are your erosion, so what's the property line on these lots? I mean, I was trying to figure out, because I'm looking at, on lot 2A for that house number 5, the 200-foot riverfront cuts, very close to the corner of the house, and on the other side is the 40-foot no structure. And I'm trying to figure out how much yard these people have, that, because I'm just thinking about what, they're kind of in this spot where, they're basically a house that's plopped down like an island in a wetland. And I just want to get a sense of what their property is so that I, can have a sense of the yard. And the other house, the 40-foot no build is not quite as close. But it looks like that 2A is more tight. But so where is the property line there?
So yeah, it's kind of a, let's see, 1, 2. It's kind of a funny shaped lot, but it's parallel to it's perpendicular to the Redmond Street, the sideline. And the house is definitely in a tight spot. It's right between the riverfront and the 40-foot no
Solid
structure.
line, that, is it the,
Yeah.
so it's like a
over
funny trapezoid almost, but,
Yeah, it's like a trapezoid. Yep.
okay.
Yep. So that's the property line.
So quite a bit of that property goes into wetland and riverfront, okay.
Yep.
So in terms of if they wanted to, like, put a shed or whatever, we'd be talking about that little kind of arc kind of thing between the 40-foot and the 200-foot riverfront off their deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the other one, the property line is, what is the property line on the other one?
So that's more of a long rectangle,
So that goes all the ways out to the,
goes all the way to the left on the screen there, all the way to the left.
so it's going to the replicated wetland? It
Yes,
includes,
that's all on that lot. That is all on the lot, for the lower lot. Yep. That's
Okay.
basically it right there, what you're looking at. It's a long rectangular lot.
wowzer. Okay, they're gonna be paying taxes on a lot of land they can't use.
A lot of
Okay.
wetlands, yep.
All right, and then, so these houses, are they going to have propane? I mean, what's their,
I don't know, Phyllis might know. Either, I'm not sure we're gonna have natural gas, but they're probably gonna be propane. Yeah,
okay,
I'm not sure about that.
because that, well, because I guess I'm just asking, so your utility trench, that would potentially have a gas line going down there as well as electric and whatnot?
I think, considering how the national grid is performing lately, we will probably use propane.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for now.
All right, okay.
Well, actually, just one point, I guess. So I guess I'd like to see that, so all the, and the driveway is going into the the manholes or the infiltrator? Let's see.
So the driveways will pitch toward the road, toward the pavement,
Okay, yep,
and
and be
then
collected that way.
picked up by the catch basins. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Gail, I have one comment on your question about the yard area. If you look at the site plan, you'll see that we've calculated the contiguous upland area for each lot.
Yep.
And
Oh, I
that's
see.
a good way of evaluating what the
Yep.
size of the yard is. And actually, they're fairly large areas. I think they're about 26,000 square
But
feet, which is more than half an acre of upland.
Right, but isn't some of that 2A in the riverfront, or no? Would that not include the 200-foot riverfront?
It would, but that's still usable yard area
Right,
in terms of
but-
walking or
Yeah,
landscaping.
of course, yeah, but I just think about like structures that people always want to add, but that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we're with Indra.
No, I don't have anything further. I think Gail covered it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, and now we're with Bill.
Okay. I have many things going on in my head on this one. Let's start with the design as you currently show it. The infiltration chamber and the various elevations that I'm looking at. You did test pits as part of the planning for this. And the test pits were done in 2020, year 2020, correct?
Yes, I believe that's right. Yeah.
We had an awful lot of water in 2021. Do you honestly believe that if you did the same test pits today, you wouldn't find groundwater significantly higher?
I can't guess to that, but when we
But
establish,
you need
when
to,
we
if you're gonna
establish,
plan an infiltration system.
when we establish groundwater elevations, we use the soils, we use redox indicators is how we do it, and that's more historical groundwater, and that's how we determine the elevation of the groundwater. And
Bill,
sometimes the existing groundwater is higher than that, and we will note that, and that's what we call high groundwater.
Yeah.
So, but because groundwater might be a little higher for a short period of time, does not mean does not leave indications that that is high groundwater all the time.
Bill?
No, but it would appear to me that, we're breaking historical records on a weekly basis, it seems like now. Your 100-year storm is happening once a month. So I'm not convinced that the groundwater levels are going to be sufficient to handle drainage from the infiltration chamber at all.
Yeah, Bill, they actually need according to their drawing, they need like maybe 3 foot for the foot above and a couple of feet for the infiltration. And then they
Yep.
need a couple of feet below. So you're looking from whatever their elevation is, they need at least 5 feet. And I had the same question, whether indeed they really have it.
So
But
our
I'm looking,
our
you know,
distance from that location did show that we have a 2 foot separation from the bottom of our system to high groundwater. So that's a 2 foot, if you want to call it, a level of tolerance that we have, so we don't get into the groundwater. So we do have a buffer there between what is indicated as high groundwater and our system.
but I'm looking at also, you know, the bottom of the infiltration chamber says it's at 134.5. And what you described as one continuous wetland system, some of the wetlands is at elevation of 138 is a wetland, you know? I mean, I just think that this is destined to fail. You know, plus we have massive amounts of water flowing down the road, and from that video that we've seen, it's going to create peak flooding times as well. You know, and together with that, you're saying the basement floor is at 141.8, and yet you're replicating wetlands at 142. That doesn't sound very comforting to me. You need sewage pumps, and not because of the elevations are so low, and yet you're not putting in sump pumps to protect the basements. I don't understand why you wouldn't automatically consider sump pumps. We've talked to some developers who say, I put sump pumps in every house I build. It's a simple, inexpensive protection system for whatever happens, including.
And I guess I'm not saying the developer won't put them in, but I'm not speaking for him right now. I don't know, Phyllis might have something to say about that.
Okay, so you're not building the houses.
And the sewer is the pump station is due to the grade in the road. It has nothing to do with groundwater or water elevations.
Okay. Well, that was one issue, was, you know, handling the current conditions. What I'm worried about in addition is the amount of land that you're going to be clearing. If you count both houses, both yards, both driveways, the road, the turnaround, and the infiltration chamber, you're clearing greater than an acre of land, I'm guessing. Does that sound about right?
I would agree with that, yeah.
Well, doing some research today, a single acre of forest land can, by respiration, suck out of the ground and evaporate it into the air 4,000 tons of water in a single growing season. And so in one season, that is roughly 1 million gallons of water that those trees are removing from the ground. And that will stop that natural pumping system when those trees are cut. So you're going to have 1 million gallons in a year more water added to this existing already wetland and challenging system. And that's not even counting potential climate change and more in the future. You know, it really, I find it's going to be very difficult to envision this as being stable. You're trying to take, the way I look at it, you're trying to take an existing environment with an established wetland, cover that wetland and artificially install a different wetland, you know, next to it that you say will replace it. But to me, that's like cutting down a tree and then planting a little one. It's not really replication. It doesn't function the same for quite some time. And, you know, in order to forcibly allow construction in a place that I don't think should be built. So I'm really hesitant to say that this is going to function. I mean, I understand, David, that you said we're not making flood control better or worse, but is it going to be livable is the real question. And the other thing is, if you're not putting in natural gas, or you know, why wouldn't a brand new houses that I'm sure you hope to sell for $1 million or so when they're built, why wouldn't you consider state-of-the-art electric heat pumps, automatically put in, you know, electric vehicle charging station, solar panels on the roof, battery storage, make this a state-of-the-art house that, when advertised and promoted, could probably gain more money because the modern educated buyers, that's what we're looking for. If you read the state regulations and the state planning now, they are trying to remove fossil fuels from 1 million houses in the state in the next few years. They're trying to remove oil and remove gas, and you're dooming new purchasers to facing those kind of restrictions in the future. And possibly having to, have that stuff either natural gas will become very expensive or be forbidden at some point. To me, it's, I don't see why a new house wouldn't be built with electric heat pumps and efficient, design for the future, including, just automatically, I would be putting in electric car charging stations. So, that's a lot I covered, and I have a number of concerns.
I'd like to respond to that.
Yeah, go right ahead, please.
I did say that in all likelihood, he may use propane. By the time the houses are built, he may decide to put all electric in. That's up to the developer and whoever builds the houses. I appreciate what you said, however, and I think it is something that we'll all be looking at converting to at some point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I have at the moment.
All right. All right. Jennifer?
I think the other commissioners have made some excellent points that I'm in agreement with, so I don't have anything further to add at this time. Thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer. How about Ed? Anything on this one?
Oh, Larry, Ed had to leave about 10 or 15 minutes ago.
Okay. All right. So that, I guess I'm up next. I guess a couple of things. One is, it's hard to tell on the drawings, but are the slopes on each side of proposed house number 5, I guess it's labeled. On each side, there are slopes, and it looks like it's occurring over maybe over 20 feet, and it's dropping like 146 to 144, 142 at the pinch point. It looks like over a short distance, particularly on the left side, it looks like there's some substantial slopes. It's going from 146 to whatever that elevation is. I can't really tell. So is it going to be stable? In other words, how much?
Those are 3-to-1. Those are 3-to-1 slopes there.
At the very front, near the front of the house, that's a 3-to-1?
Yeah, that's a 3-to-1 slope.
All right, so you don't think there's any problem with stability at 3-to-1 then?
No, I don't think so. We go up to even the 2-to-1 sometimes, but 3-to-1 is pretty comfortable. Yeah.
All right. I couldn't tell from the drawing. Thank you. I had the same thing about, given how wet the season was, where the estimated high groundwater is exactly the same, and with the removal of all the trees and the transpiration, I have no idea why the requirement wouldn't be to put in waterproofing and around the foundation and a sump pump, some kind of a ground thing. To me, it looks like.
Yeah, again, we're not saying we're not going to do that. We probably will because we know it's a wet area. But we hadn't planned anything as of now. We haven't addressed that.
Okay.
Specification yet.
Right. And is the test pit that you did, which is on the corner of the infiltration area, and the infiltration area goes to what, 50 feet across, and maybe 25 by 50, I don't know, maybe something like that. I'm wondering if you can take, the infiltration is going to be crucial in that area. Is the number of test pits sufficiently, or should you have another test pit in the other kitty corner of it, just to sort of see, because you're talking about conditions at that test pit and then conditions at 40 feet away. You're assuming they're the same, and it seems like that infiltration is crucial to making all this work.
Yeah, if the commission would like us to do another test bit out there to confirm that, and if the commission would like to come out and witness it, we'd be happy with that. We could do that, sure.
We can ask our staff if they think that's a good idea. Okay. Yes, on the 1.7 acres that you're donating in lieu of meeting 2-to-1 versus 1-to-1 replication ratio, have you written us anything on any significant features or value of that? Like it's adjacent to this, there's a trail this, it enlarges an existing area. Is there any kind of a paragraph that you could write us that would help us quantify the value just a little bit more? I'm not asking for much, obviously, but something a little bit more than saying you're offering 1.7 acres of conservation land, which has its own value. I get it.
Larry, would be glad to do that.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just a little bit more information as to what the commission and the town is getting if we approve this. And then the last one is a general question to anyone who wants to answer, and our staff, John and Eileen, by foregoing the 2-to-1, because replications are notorious that they fail sometimes, part of them fail. Is this a risk at all by going to 2-to-1 versus allowing 1-to-1 by allowing this trade-off?
So it's a little bit more than 1-to-1. I think the larger area to the left would have a pretty high probability of success. It's probably a filled wetland. It's a huge debris pile that was probably dumped into a wetland, so it'd probably be fairly easy to restore a wetland in that one.
Yes.
The other one I'm not as sure about, but it's slightly more than 1-to-1, I believe, right, David or Mary?
Yeah, it is. It is a little more than 1-to-1. It's not exactly 1-to-1.
I think it's about 12% more, I figured out. I'm pretty comfortable with the fact that we do need to do replication in 2 different areas. And I think some of the comments that have been coming forward this evening translate well into our being able to create an area with the appropriate hydrology for wetlands replication. We would not be able to get a certificate of compliance if we did not have successful replication areas. And there probably are areas on the site that if we would have an area that obviously failed, that we could offer, a replacement. I truthfully don't see that happening. We've had pretty good luck with the success of our replication areas. I think that if you look at the state average, it's fairly low for success rate, but that's because people do a poor job, not because the science isn't there to make it happen. And I'm pretty comfortable that we could get something growing here within the 3 years, and that we would have the hydrology to maintain this as a wetland in perpetuity.
Well, I'll have to say, Mary, not for any particular reason to compliment you, but I do have some faith in your abilities and professional abilities to oversee a successful replication.
Thank you. If you saw the report that I gave you on the replication protocol with this most recent submission of information, that wetland that the photos come from is over at Winning Farms in Lexington at the Blueberry Lane. And, you can go out and look at it. It's a really nice little replication area.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that. That was included in the package. Okay, so before I review what we have, are there any neighbors or anybody here to comment on this project that's in a butter or a neighbor or interested party? did not hear anyone. Okay. So why don't we, I think it's worth taking a minute for everyone, let's go down whatever list we have. I think John mentioned the ownership of the infiltration. He suggested that should be clarified. I think you heard that. You said that you could provide a little more detail on the value, what it's connected to, or how close it is to some other conservation area, or what's on it. 1.7 acres, you thought you could give us a few words on that. You said the plan was going to be changed to switch to a concrete pipe because of what the engineering department said, or something for the crossing, is that correct?
Yeah, they're more than likely gonna ask for concrete culvert.
Yeah. You said that you would more than likely require waterproofing and sump pumps. You don't know if you're committed to that, but you said more than likely.
Yeah, I can speak with Mr. Murray and see what he's gonna say about that. Then we can let you know that.
Okay, so you'll get back to us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think.
He's been building houses for a long time. Yeah, I think he knows what he'll need, so I'm not too worried about that.
Okay. Bill, you talked about the estimated high groundwater, particularly in this this very wet year. Do you think that do you think that a second test pit would help resolve give a little more comfort to that, at least the infiltration will work as designed?
Yes, I definitely do.
Okay, I don't know if that answers your complete question or not, but
I also feel that way, Larry. This is Indra.
It would provide more information, but it's not going to answer the question of the effect of cutting all those trees and climate change or, room in the future. There, it may,
you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say that. Okay. Now, it's maybe too early to answer this. Do we need a peer review of any aspect of this proposal? I know there's concerns. I'm not sure we do. I'm not sure if our staff would recommend it, if there's things that are clear. Does anyone have a comment at this time? We don't have to answer that question. We do have the ability to require a peer review under Burlington Bylaw Article 14. We don't do it very often unless there's unresolved issues. I mean, we can hold that thought if you.
I'm not really fluent on what would the requirements for a peer review would be, so I don't feel I'm qualified to comment at the moment.
Well, normally the way we've done it is they hire whomever they want and pay for it, but we negotiate with them on what the scope of work should be. It can be very limited or it can be very broad. And I'm not, if John or Eileen have a comment one way or the other, we can just hold that thought for now. We don't have to talk more about it, but I thought I would just table that as part of the hearing.
I don't personally see anything in this application that really requires a peer review. It's not that complicated a project, really.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, if there's, we talked about the test pit, and we talked about the replication ratio. Okay, that's all I have, and not actually all that much as I thought we were gonna have.
So actually, you actually raised earlier that you wanted to do a site visit, and I didn't really catch what it is the commission wanted to go see again. Was it something specific on site?
I did not, I was on the site. I'm not sure I have a need to go further than that.
You didn't have fun there, Larry?
Yeah, there was, I mean, it's.
Okay, I thought I heard that the commissioners wanted to go back out there. Okay, I'm sorry.
Does
So,
anyone
just to clarify,
want to go back?
To clarify, so are you asking us to do another test pit? Am I correct in that?
I would like you to provide additional confidence that by doing a test pit that witnessed by the Board of Health John and Eileen, do you think that's a good idea before we ask for that? What's your opinion on that?
Was the first one witnessed by Christine Mathis?
this by
Yes.
somebody.
Right, so I mean, these are licensed soil professionals, you know, who know what they're doing. So, I mean, the water table is going to go up and down every year, but they basically take the estimated seasonal high water. It's basically an average of, you know, what the high water is. So,
Is it,
it may be higher this year, but
but my question is, do you advise, is your advice to the commission that we need this, or is your advice we probably do not need it for an infiltration a thing that's about, has a plot area of about 25 by 50?
well, if it would give you more comfort, then require it, sure.
I see. All right, what's the commission's preference?
Oh, I say yes, no question.
All right, anyone
I
else?
also say yes.
Anyone else?
I say yes as well.
All right. So that's 4-3, at least so far. So,
Let's do
you
it.
folks, okay, that's 5-2. All right, do you, Phyllis and David, do you have any issue with doing that one particular item? Is that a problem, you think?
No, I don't think that's a problem. We'll schedule it as soon as we can.
Okay,
Great. Thank you.
all right. Okay, so
Thank you.
it would be in the bottom corner, the kitty corner from the one you did, right?
Yeah, we'll put it right in the area of the infiltration system.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, okay. All right, does anyone have anything else? I don't know what else to say then at this point.
Nope.
David, anything more from you folks or Phyllis?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, so the next, I guess you folks agree to continue to October 14th. Is that what we're talking about? Is that the next meeting? And Phyllis, is that, are you before the planning board at all, or is there anything? Do you want to go for 2 meetings to the 28th, or? Yeah, you're muted, Phyllis. You're still muted.
Going before the planning board on October 7.
All right, so
And
is October 14th still good for you then, for us?
I think it is, if David thinks we can get the test pit done.
So that gives us 3 weeks. Is that right?
3
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, I think we can get it done in that time.
Okay. Well, why don't we try for that? And if something happens and we can't get it done, we can continue.
Of course.
Okay? Is that okay?
That's certainly okay by me.
So Larry,
Yeah,
I
we've
just
been
wanna-
doing-
Larry, this is Gail. I just want to ask a quick question. Is there needed to be a National Heritage Survey done here?
What?
No? Okay.
No, no habitat here.
Okay, do we need a motion to continue, John?
Yes, a roll call.
All right, could I have a motion to continue the hearing for?
3 hearings.
3 hearings, right?
All 3, yeah.
Redmond Street roadway, 4 Redmond Street and 5 Redmond Street. Continue the public hearings until October 14th, 2021 meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission.
So move, Bill.
Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Indra,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Chair votes yes by a vote of 6-0-0. These hearings are continued to October 14th. Okay,
Thank you.
David, Phyllis, thank you very much for all your time and effort on this.
Okay,
And
thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Have a good night now.
All right, take care. Have a good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Okay, so we are at administration now. Planning board comments. Do we need to provide comments on this to the planning board? They were having a meeting October 7th on these 3 hearings.
I can certainly update them.
Okay. Subcommittee and staff reports. Do we have anything else?
No.
Of course, the next meeting is October 14th, and the one after that is October 28th. Is there anything involved in other business?
I have one unrelated to Conservation Commission.
Yes,
May I say it?
go right ahead.
Okay. As usual, as you know that I belong to Indian Americans for Burlington organization.
Sure.
And every year we do the Diwali event on the commons.
Yes.
This year, we are observing our Diwali event this Sunday, which is September the 26th. That's the last Sunday of September every year we do. And this year also we are doing it. And I am inviting all of you with your family and friends to come and join us.
That's
This would be from 4 to 6:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's always a good event.
Thank you, Indra.
Thank you, Indra. That's great. Okay. And I have one other thing. It's unrelated to conservation, but of interest to all of Burlington. Our state representative, Ken Gordon, is holding an event where the House Speaker, Ron Mariano, is going to be giving a discussion of Massachusetts economy and the direction in which we're headed. And that's going to be on September 28th at 6:30 p.m. outdoors at the Archer Hotel. So if you're at all interested, September 28th, I think that's a Tuesday at 6:30, you can hear Speaker of the House, Ron Mariano, who's going to talk about what's happening in Massachusetts. Okay.
Sorry, before we finish, can I just remind everybody, as many people as possible to come in either tomorrow or Monday to sign the signature sheets, please?
All right. Sounds like a plan. Is there anything else from the commissioners?
No.
This was a long one, folks, longer than normal. All right. Is there a
There
motion?
have been longer ones.
They have been, not too often. This one's kind of a long one. Is there anyone wants to adjourn? Motion?
Go. I move, we adjourn.
Second.
Second, Gail.
All right, Don, how do you vote on adjournment?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yep.
And the chair votes yes by a vote of 6-0-0. This meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission is adjourned. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.